Yeah, I just have to find that
Maybe
pattern piece. If what's this? An intro. Well, I know what you're thinking. How can I make my slip dress or camisole more cartoonish? Well, don't you fret. Today we're going to replace those boring old spaghetti straps with the wavy puffy strap. Picture it. You've got a camisole or a slip dress, and it's got a boring old spaghetti strap. Yuck. We hate those, even though there's multiple videos of me making spaghetti straps. You may know I've got a bit of an obsession with sort of like quilty, puffy, cartoonish things. So we're going to today be replacing spaghetti straps with a wavy puffy strap. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and then we're going to sew them in place. As far as ingredients, you'll just need something that, I mean, I'm trying to think if you need, I'm trying to think of any other item of clothing. Okay, anyways, this tends to work best, I think, I've done it a handful of times, with something that has like a thinner strap. So that's got, yeah, slip dress, camisole, maybe a certain kind of jumpsuit. I'm trying to think what else. Or I guess a tube top. There you go. So some sort of garment that you want to put this strap, I keep saying strap on.
this channel is very dirty.
God, it's inescapable. So besides a garment and whatever fabric you want to use, and I'm trying to think if it could be reversible. Sure. Then some quilted batting, and I usually go for the thickest type. I think this is about, I don't know, an inch thick. You won't need this much, but just a bit. And I'm trying to think, I think that's just about it. I mean, besides like scissors and pins and all that stuff, and oxygen to breathe. All right, I have some ready-made. I can't tell them my secrets. Wait, anyway, I've got one ready to go. So I'll just show you how to cut one that will just be a little more visible than the one I'm going to end up doing because it's going to be black. Sorry, all this, no one needs to know this. Why do I keep talking? Okay, I'm going to show you how to cut one out of this fabric, and I've chosen satin because it's so easy and not slippery. And I've drafted this pattern. I'm doing one that's straight on one side, curvy on the other, because it kind of looks like a little angel wing. I don't know, not that that's not the reference point, but and I made some other versions. I was just trying to try different squiggles and blobs. So the shape of your choice, the length of your choice, but just to give you a reference, this one is, let's see, it's about 17 inches long, and so by the time it's sort of sewn together, it probably is about 16 and a half inches. But yeah, it'll be different for everyone. And then the width is about 3 inches. So I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces of this in the fabric, so the front and back, and then 1 piece of the batting. I mean, unless you want it really puffy. I think the one I'm going to sew in the end on the final product will be black because they're already made and we don't want to be here for 50 hours. The one I'm going to cut out is going to be in this satin, what do we call this color? Fuchsia? Yeah. Sure. Or orchid. What's kind of an orchid? Like orchid. Yeah, orchid. Just it's visually, it'll maybe be a little easier to see. And satin is always fun to sew on. It's very slippery, but I don't know. It's what I got. So let's see. And cutting on the green, avoiding numerous stains that just appear out of nowhere. All right. And I don't know why I always feel like I have to give some sort of explanation, like, why this strap? What, you know, like, and it's actually none of your business, and stop asking. It's private. There's something about being able to just like thrift, like, okay, I'm looking for camisoles, you know, and then you're like, if I had this thing, it's automatically like, it's just like a little more interesting. I don't know. It's, I don't know. So that's all I got, really.
Defend your decision.
Defend yourself in open court. I need weights. So I think these are the bases of, I may have gone over this before. My weights are pieces of like quartz, I guess, or whatever, that are like the base of like a trophy, I think. Anyway, I think we're talking about this like, because I'm like, I don't want to pay for gravity, basically.
Yeah.
Just
paying for them.
Yeah. I will be doing a few tweaks because I'm like, wait, this, I should have made a new pattern piece, but I'm like, no, I'll just have to remember these little tweaks forever. And oh yeah, and it's really fun to get into these curves too. That's another, isn't it fun to sew with curves, Okay, so I actually am going to add another 1/4 of an inch. So I think I said it was 3 inches, so maybe like 3 1/4 on this particular size and shape. No, actually, it's like I move it and then I'm like, nope. And I could tweak it more. It's like, whatever, it's fine. Okay. Oh yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess I'm just cutting one of these. So yeah, I obviously if this were going to be the set, I would do 2, or I don't know, could it be 1 strap maybe?
That's true.
And I always, then my immediate thing is like, this could also be, and I'm like, nope, just focus on one thing. Don't give 40 alternate ideas. I know. Why did I choose this shape? I'm such a dummy. Because it's cool. Oh, God. Okay. This is a nightmare. Okay. I wanted a bigger wave crest, whatever, at the shoulder, and then I wanted it to sort of get smaller. And so, let's see. And I know it's off because there's 3, like if this is at the shoulder, there's 2 smaller crests, or waves or whatever the hell they are there, and then 3 smaller ones here. And so basically it's just like, it's a little, I don't know how to explain, like,
it's not symmetrical.
It's not symmetrical.
Your body isn't symmetrical.
Yeah. And so just so you know, like that's, that was my thinking, but obviously you could make them all the same size. Yeah, anyway. And I don't know, yeah, I just love curves and waves right now. They are tricky to sew on, and it was tricky to make this pattern because I wanted to make sure with these smaller, like peaks and valleys. What's the word? Yeah, this is like valley. I keep switching metaphors. I also just didn't want it to, like, when you sew it, to kind of come to a point. So I have to make sure when I'm sewing that it's like round enough that it doesn't I don't come off of this like hill and go like boop, like into a V. So there's like little nuances, idiosyncrasies with this one that I'm like, why? I don't know. It's hard when you're like, making my life harder, but I really like the end result. Like, it took me a few tries to get this pattern just right. And I think this is just extra hard because it's satin and it's kind of just catching. And as always, I need to sharpen or replace the blades. And I've said that in like every other video. And they're like, you still have it? That's not cute. All right. So it should look something like that. And I'll be sewing it. We'll get to it more with the, I'm like, are these even the same? Are these off? It's fine. We'll make it work. So when I sew them, they'll be the shiny side, inward, and then I'll have a layer of batting. So let me cut that now and I can start pinning it. something I realized when I was cutting, because like I said, it's been a minute since I've made this. I added about 1/4 inch extra along the straight side when I was cutting the fabric. And I couldn't remember why. I just remembered I was supposed to do it. And now I remember why. Is because when we sew this all together, I'm going to be leaving that straight side open. It'll be more apparent in a second. But basically, that's going to be the seam allowance I'm going to need. And I cut this exactly to the pattern, no extra bit. And so that way I'm not sewing it, just that way it's like a pillow. I'm encapsulating the quiltiness. It'll make sense later. But just so you know, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty, that's that. So I have flipped the 2 fabric pieces with the pretty side on the inside. And I like to, I'm trying to think when I actually sew it, I'm probably going to have fabric facing me, because sometimes that the presser foot gets stuck in the quilting. And you could even, I'm trying to think if you could use interfacing at all, iron on to kind of smooth it out. Oh well, we're not gonna deal with that. So I'm going to pin with the 2 pieces of fabric on top and then the quilting bit, just because I think it's easier rather than try to sandwich them and it's slipping and it's sliding, because it's satin. And some dummy told you to cut satin straps. It wasn't me. I'm not responsible. Okay, so now I'm gonna be pinning along the curvy edge. And when we get to the machine, that's going to be the first stitch we do, and then we'll be doing all the flipping and everything. But just so you know, I'm going to be pinning along the curvy edge right now. It'll look a little something like this. And I'll be sewing from this side. I might trim, especially in these smaller, these valleys, maybe trim it along here too, because you know how curves and waves are. I don't know, they can look kind of weird and pointy when you flip it, if you don't like kind of do a little snipping. So I might snip very carefully, make sure I don't snip into the seam itself. And yeah, so I just sewed all the way along the top, left the edges and the bottom open. I'm gonna snip, and then I'm gonna snip, and then I'm gonna flip. I am a charlatan and a fool, and I forgot right after I cut the fabric, I did mention about needing a seam allowance, and it didn't dawn on me because I haven't done this one in a minute, that I needed to actually, it's a seam allowance, but actually what I'm doing is I should have ironed it before I sewed it on the curvy side. Iron both of the flat sides down about like 1/4 inch inward. It just makes it so much easier. I totally forgot, and I had to do it just like really weirdly just now. And so before you sew it together, I guess, yeah, before you pin it even, iron it, the fabric on both sides, inward. Sorry, this fabric doesn't like to be ironed very well. Anyways, about 1/4 inch, because that way, when you're at this stage that I'm at, I had to go back, you can pin it. It's just so much easier, because you've already flipped it, so you have to do everything like in a top stitching sort of way. And so that way you can just do that and stitch it, and I'm about to, you know, pin this down properly. And then I would also probably like flip the edges as well. And I didn't do that. Okay. You know, sorry, I'm not perfect. Newsflash. So, I would just like, iron those edges before you pin, and don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes. So now I'm going to pin all the way around. I have pinned around all the edges. I tucked in the ends so they're a little prettier. And now I'm going to just do a little top stitch all around the edge. That way it will kind of make these curves pop, and obviously just keep everything together. here is the completed strap. So lovely color. I want to make another one of these and utilize it, but for now, we already have black satin straps prepared. I've pinned them in place on this black slip. Sorry not to do it proper before, but it's a black slip dress. And so here's the skinny strap. So I'm just going to cut that away, the front and back here, and then pin the strap. I think I have this pinned to the outside. So if it looks a little messy, you could pin it to the inside. Since it comes to that point, it depends if you have a straight across sort of dress or not, but you could, you know, you could pin it where the outside little end is visible or pin it on the inside, your choice. And I'll just be doing like a little stitch. There's kind of a curve to it, so you could either sew it straight across or just kind of follow that curve, and just, it really takes a few stitches because it's, you know, the piece you're sewing it on is so light, it's just gonna be like dangling off your delicate shoulders. So I'm going to cut those straps, stitch it the front and back, and then we'll have the reveal. Yeah, can't wait to have quite a massive drink after this.
A whiskey sour or something.
Sidecar for me,
Yeah,
probably.
right.
But
sorry, is that a new note or is it the
oh,
same note?
it's in the same spot, and yet it seems different. Huh. Wield this new transformative power with integrity. Don't be cutting off straps left and right like you're that perv at the Yoko Ono cut piece performance. Deep cut. Well, it's definitely one for the books. I go on, you good thing. God, it's already bad. Everything's bad already. I hate that I'm so adorable at like noon, and then I have a meltdown. I start filming, and I'm like, I look like dog shit. Oh, this one's a handful of sunshine. Sorry, I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. I'm gonna get my small rotary cutter because it needs something that'll handle those curves. Since I have a whole puff series of wait, is it called series? Archive? Oh my god.
Like
Cut
this?
everything, dump it, put in the trash. Throw your phone away. Okay. I want everyone to think I'm cool and smooth. Okay. It's just hard for me to watch these videos because I'm like, girl, chill. Jesus. One more, or is that good?
They're good.
Okay, it's fine.
That's fine.
We're hangry.